Clair de Lune from scratch. I'm actually going to refer you to an earlier video that I did that gives a pretty good overview of how to read notes and how to recognize where those notes are placed when reading sheet music. Okay, so take a look at that video first, then come back, and then I can start to focus a little bit more on getting started specifically with this piece. So let's still go ahead. I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the rules that are going to govern the playing of this piece. Let's just cut out a portion of the very beginning over here. And let me paste that over here, and let's just talk about this briefly. Now, unlike the other piece, you're going to notice that this G clef is actually occurring both the right hand and the left hand. The top portion over here is normally designated for notes that you play with the right hand, and the bottom portion over here is usually designated for notes that you play with the left hand. But as you notice, they're sharing the same type of G clef. Okay? So all that indicates is that the notes in both hands are going to be in this area of the piano. They're going to be both kind of on the high side, okay, as opposed to high and low. Right? So as long as we understand that, let's go on and take a look at this key signature here. If you recall from, if you've seen any of my previous lessons on video, you'll recall that these kind of are qualifiers, or they're special rules that govern globally all the notes in the piece. Okay? And so let's take a look at these, and we're going to look at them by recognizing what notes they govern. All right? So if you remember, this is a G clef because it's shaped like a G. All right? And we'll notice right off the bat that there is a flat on that G. Okay? So all G's are going to be flat. That's rule number one. So if we have a G here, remember, 3 black keys. A starts over here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's the G that we're indicating with this clef. Okay? All G's are going to become G flat. See that? Okay? So anytime you see a G, it's immediately going to do that. All right? Let's keep going. G flat, and now let's take a look at this. The very next note up is an A flat. So get all A's. So G's and A's are going to become G flats and A flats. Can you see that? Okay? Now, let's keep going. A, going up to the next note. B, oh my. A lot of these notes are immediately going to have automatic flats assigned to them. So G, A, B becomes G flat, A flat, B flat. Okay? Now we go on to the next space over here. And you can see there's no note, there are no flats assigned to that, so we're in the clear there. The very next note up we find over here, and that's a D. Okay? And that will become D flat, respectively. Okay? And go to the very next note up. This D moves us up to an E. So now we're going to also have E's become E flats. D's become D flats. E's become E flats. Remember, flats move our notes slightly down or towards the left. If we're remembering directions on the piano, moving to the left means I'm going down. The pitches are getting lower. Moving to the right means I'm going up. The pitches are getting higher. Okay? So for all of these notes, these 5 notes, the pitches are going to be moved lower by moving slightly to the left. Okay? So let's review again. G flat over here. A flat. B flat. Okay, moving up. D flat. And E flat. Okay? Do you notice something? It's all the black keys. Right? Okay? That basically only leaves 2 other notes that we're not going to worry about, C and F. Okay? Those are the only 2 other notes that are not going to have automatic flats assigned to them. Let's just leave those as kind of our outside notes. So those 2 notes are the safe notes, so to speak. Everything else you can automatically assume will be probably played up on the black key, on black keys, unless otherwise indicated. All right? So you might be thinking, my goodness, why am I playing all the black keys? That's pretty awkward, isn't it? Well, let me give you a little bit of an example of what this piece might have sounded like if Mr. Debussy had decided to make it, quote-unquote, easier for us. He could have very easily written it in, instead of the original key, could have written it with all white keys. And it would have sounded like this. Surely it would have been easier to play. Okay? he might have even thought of that at one point. But listen to the sound of the piece on white keys. Now listen to it on black keys. There's something magical about lifting the pitch up just a little bit. Yeah? Okay. So there's something magical about lifting the sound a bit. And there's also something magical about playing in that slightly elevated black key range. So maybe you can think of it as a musical glow, a musical heightening. I think there's something magical, even though it's a little more difficult. I think you'll agree the sound is much prettier in these keys. And so even though we have a lot of flats to contend with, I think you'll agree it'll be well worth it as we study this piece in the lessons to come. Okay, I'll see you at the next lesson, and we're going to get started playing Clair de Lune.